Hey guys, Philip with Trade Genius. A little under the weather, so I'm just going to give you a quick update on Bitcoin because price is still kind of bearish, and people are asking about where are we at technically. So, real brief video, and we'll just go over the Bitcoin price action. So let's begin. Let's take a look at the daily chart. So on the daily chart, and I'm going to look at Coinbase. We'll flip back and forth between Coinbase and Bitstamp, just because Bitstamp will not have some of these flash highs and flash lows that are a result of Coinbase locking up when they are very busy. And the exchange still continues to have problems to scale. I'm still not really impressed by the whole Bcash thing. I think it's pretty obvious there's an agenda there. So recommending that you might want to look at some other exchanges. But that being said, just looking at price action, the reason why I'm going to continue to kind of look at Coinbase is because they still do have a lot of volume. And I find that their volume, because they're exposed to many other markets other than US, gives a beat on kind of the overall activity at certain levels. So, but I will switch back and forth. So on the daily stuff, we are basically pulled back. We're going off of Coinbase. We pulled back into this fib buy zone. This would resolve itself at 22,412. If we get down into this area, that would resolve itself on a measured move back higher at 23,285. So the question becomes, are we in a 3-day or 4-day pullback in which this should resolve quickly here, or is it a matter of, if we look at the 4-hour chart and we scroll back to a period of time when we saw kind of like this situation here in November where we had a 3-day pullback, or is it a situation like back in September where we had like a 2-week kind of waterfall event which resolved with a big bar and big volume? So that's basically the question. Normally when you see a big bar like this, it's over and the buyers have stepped in force. In fact, when that bar completed on the 4-hour, I said the bottom was in. And then we consolidated a little bit, and then once you break that consolidation, you're back off into the rise again. So the argument now is, did we see that on this bar here? Volume here of 20,000, all right, on that 4-hour. So now we can compare that to what we had back here in September. Let's get this up here. September. So that this ended up being volume bar of 18,000 on that bar. 18,000. So we definitely had the type of volume that could give you a bottom type move. What I'm not convinced the bottom's totally in yet. Price is going to have to do the following. It's going to have to break this. Maybe this is better on an hourly. We got to break this trend line down. All right, so if we don't do that yet, then expect every move up to this, like, I run the WMA 65 as kind of like the larger pullback moving average. And as you can see now, every time we've tried to pop above it, we've seen the shorts come in and hit it. And we were having some consolidation here, and it looked like possibly that would resolve to the upside and kind of end this pullback. But that being said, we are broke down more, and now we've made another leg down. So we are at an hourly buy, but again, that may only get us up to this level here. And so I'm looking for that, a bounce up to that level, which takes us to about 16,400 roughly. If that level breaks higher, we might be in business. That being said too, though, I need to see this 17,600 level basically, or 662, get taken out, and ultimately I want to see this support and resistance here. See how this was resistance, and then support, then we broke it, and now it's resistance. I really want to see that broken at 17,900, and if we get back up to that, you're probably going to get a bounce off of this old trend line, which typically happens, a retrace, and then a move through it. And I think now you're cleared for seeing how far you can move up into the 20,000 range. So that's basically it. I'm going to show you guys a bigger picture thing too now. So let's look at Bitstamp for this. All right, so historically, if you look at Bitstamp, we've got, and let's go back, toward where we started taking off in April. So we've had a 38.59% pullback, a 40% pullback, and a 29% pullback. So that was 38% pullback back in June, 40% pullback in September. Keep in mind, June was June to basically July. So that was almost a month of basically not going sideways to down, and then it finally moved higher again. And it felt like that wasn't, felt like it wasn't going anywhere at that time. Then we had a 3-week or 2-week pullback, basically, that went 40% pullback in September. And then we had like a 3-day pullback of 30% back in November. So, this pullback here, and this doesn't really show up too much on other charts, but I mean, you could even argue this was a pullback, albeit brief, but it literally lasted like 1 day, 2 days, and that was 21%. So now we have this other pullback here. Let's move this over here. So, currently we've put in a low there on Bitstamp at, around 15,000, and that's a 23% pullback. So the question is, are we done? And I don't, the 4 hours certainly gave us enough volume, but I'm not seeing that. I got to see that break on that trend line, and right now I just don't see it. So now that brings in the question, how low can we go? I honestly think that, a lot of times if you break this upper moving average, it brings into probability that you're going to hit this lower moving average on the daily, like you saw here on the November pullback. And you definitely saw it here on the September pullback. In fact, it shot past it. But we weren't as separated here as we were here, and we are here now. So those two moving averages are very far apart. So it is likely, or it is possible, I should say, that we could even pull back to this level here. So below 13,000 is not out of the question. But even if that's the case, that's if we got below there, that's a 36% pullback. That's perfectly within operating parameters of this bull market in Bitcoin. But I just wanted to make you guys kind of aware that these size moves are still possible. I personally was kind of going under the thought process that we would see like this move here down to 15,000 would be probably it, and that would kind of fall in line with smaller and smaller pullbacks in percentages terms. But I can't discount the fact that even if we got down to under 13,000 at this point, that doesn't really change anything fundamentally, and it's well within the parameters of a pullback for Bitcoin. So you guys have to keep that in mind. So basically what it comes down to is looking at the smaller time frame, and we'll go back to Bitcoin Coinbase charts for that, and we'll look at the hourly. So this is what I'm looking at. The other thing I'd like to see is if we do make a new low, do we get a bullish divergence? And that would mean that we don't make a new low, say for example on the RSI. Let's say it comes down to here and then comes up back up. If it was, that to me would indicate some strength as far as maybe the move bottoming out and then going higher. But it's going to be all about this break, as I've been saying. So we break that first. That's the first task for the bulls. The other chart I want to show you guys, and then we'll wrap it up, is, and let's see here, is the okay, this is my fork. So this fork's basically been holding true since July, where we and so this basically is a trajectory, right? So as you can see, Basically, you can have a range from 8,600 to 20,000. So there's a pretty wide range, but this is based off of existing price action. This is the parabolic curve. So, you know, I'm going to say a move down to the bottom of this price fork is probably going to be, like, I would give it a 10% chance that actually materializes. And I'm simply doing that just because of taking into the factors of what's happening. We're coming into year end, we're starting to see fund flows and things like that. You can visibly see the volumes picking up. So I think funds, they're not stupid. They're going to look for, they watch price and they're going to find the best optimal entry. So believe me, you can see large buy orders coming in. I do think they're actively buying on every dip. That's why if you look on the hourly, you know, when things get technical like this, like, you know, you can even look on here, you know, you're buying these dips. You buy that, you buy that, you buy that. You know, there's all dips, all these dips that come down. This one was super quick, so unless you had a working order, but they have resting working orders below. They're not stupid. So at some point, the selling's gonna, you know, it's all about equilibrium. Is there more sellers or is there more buyers? And right now, there's more sell pressure. And traders too, you know, obviously this is a downtrend, so swing traders are going to be looking to short any pops. Where that changes is when the buyers come in and blow out those stops, and now that changes everybody to now switching to long. So that's about it for now. There's your possible targets. So next technical level is 14,500, and then down here below 13,000, you'd be looking at probably a technical level of 12,600. Volume wise, last thing I'll show you, volume wise, if you look at the 4-hour chart, you know, this is a volume profile, is what they call it, and basically you can see where these volumes are. So you can see here, guys, this kind of consolidated at this volume node. That was a fight there, and then we broke down. And so the question now becomes, there's a little bit of an air gap here. And when you see an air gap, that can cause a price to kind of, because there's no price history, no price action too much there, just kind of rip through that level. Like through here, see how fast it ripped through it. So you could come back down to some support levels, and that's why I say this, you know, below 13,000 is in play. I kind of doubt we're going to see much more than that just because of the current price action. We're still kind of in that parabolic type curve, so it would have to really break down to kind of cancel that out and reset. And so we got to go with our current parameters. And so that would be, to me, I think that would be max pain down there, the way I see it now setting up. So there's kind of your big picture, guys. Again, this trend line I think is going to be pretty key, and then these two levels above it. And then if those get resolved, then we'll be definitely heading back over 20,000. So we'll see how it goes. I'll get you guys another update tomorrow. But I want to get this one out. I was under the weather, and I wanted to get you guys an update on the technicals as big picture on Bitcoin. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button if this helps. All right, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.